Welcome to Subramani. A few concepts in personal finance. Actually, you are better off perhaps reading this, and I'll give you a link below in the description or in the first comment. And so there are some rules in personal finance, about 30-35 of them in my blog. I'll try talking to you about some of them. One, personal finance is far bigger than picking the right share or the right mutual fund. Yeah, a lot of people get confused between picking the right share and picking the right mutual fund and thinking that that is all there is to personal finance. That's not true. Making your goal statement, checking out your budget, making out your P&L or your income expenditure account, making your will, family financial communication, getting the documents right, making sure that the PAN card, the Aadhaar card and your investments, maybe your passport are in perfect sync in terms of name, address, everything. All that is part of personal finance. So picking a share, yes, it's important, but that may be just 5% of personal finance. That may be very important in your portfolio management. That is true. In creating wealth, that is important, but getting all the documentation right, managing the risk, all that has got nothing to do with picking up the stock. So picking up the stock is at best a small portion, right? So as a corollary to that, picking up the right fund does not mean you know personal finance. The concepts are very different. And if the only personal finance you know is from reading from magazines, blogs and vlogs and parents and all, I'm sorry, that can't be your profession. You cannot sit and then start teaching it to the world. You should have actually done it. You should have managed money, or you should have managed risk, or you should have done it for friends or relatives or something, and then you can. The degree doesn't really matter, but you should have done it for people before you start blogging and start giving advice to people. There are that kind of advice can be dangerous. Be careful. Another problem is, just because a person calls himself a financial planner or a certified financial consultant, it doesn't mean anything. There is a complete alphabet soup out there about what the qualification can be. There are engineers, there are chartered accountants, there are cost accountants. Every type of person is there in the field, and he calls himself some kind of a financial planner that he is not. The most important number to monitor, if you have just one number to monitor and you have created that number in Excel sheet or on some blog or website, great, that number has to be your net worth. How much is your net worth? Your assets minus liabilities. If you do not know what it is, please go to Subramani and read up. I've explained what is net worth. I think I've created a video also about it, but blog may be easier to find the concept of what is a net worth. First of all, you can learn to save well. It is nice to say I live well, that is great, but you need to save well, maybe 30%, 40% of your income or whatever it is. If you are staying with your parents and you are still 23, 24, maybe even 100% is what you can save, technically speaking, because you are not paying rent, you are not paying for food, you are not paying for any of those things. Then you are capable of saving a much bigger amount than your counterpart who is paying rent and paying for food, etc. Right? Once you save the money, or you learned how to save the money, that money has to be invested. Remember, it's a three-leg stool. One is you save well. Because you're well educated, you earn well, and therefore you save well. That has to be invested well, right? All the three legs are important. Being able to earn money and save money, and therefore you have money, and that money to be converted into an investment, right? All these concepts are necessary in the concept of wealth creation. Personal finance involves a lot of painful documentation, etc., which most of us don't like to do, like will making, power of attorney drafting, ensuring that your assets pass on very well. For example, it's a common concept saying, oh, husband and wife, both of you are holding the shares, so you don't need a nominee. Wrong concept. In the last few days, I've seen a couple die within 10 days of each other. that means that the family would definitely not have got enough time amidst all the COVID related worries that they would have had to go and change the nominee. Now if there is no nominee and if both the husband and wife are dead, it's a nightmare getting that money out of that mutual fund. I can assure you that, right? Shun debit card, credit card, pay cash. That's the best way to teach your children. However, when you must use a card, use a credit card, don't use a debit card, because your debit card is more vulnerable to misuse and you can leave a big amount inadvertently perhaps in your savings bank account. Suppose 30 lakhs is lying in your savings bank account and somebody is able to compromise your debit card, and without the password or with somehow they are able to swipe off all the money. Now that can't happen in your credit card because you have a limit of just 1 lakh. So maximum amount you will lose is say 1 lakh. So have a credit card with a small limit and use that credit card extensively wherever you wish to. Right? Shun credit card, shun credit totally, except for buying a house, which is perhaps what we believe in appreciating asset. Other than that, don't have debt at all. I would have said go ahead and don't have debt even in the house, because buy house at a later stage. That's up to you. If you get your big ticket items properly, like your house, your cars and your investments, largely you've done well, right? So don't then crib about the smaller things. However, having said that, if you do not know where your money is going or how you're spending, writing down the expenses is perhaps the best and the smartest thing you can do, and it requires no great training beyond class 8. Anybody can do that. Start writing down what you're spending in a simple plain 200-page notebook. Just write. If you want, you can write your comments below and start that, and afterwards you can shift it to Excel. It is necessary that you should start this in a physical form in a notebook. Why to do? Why so? Simply I'll cover sometime later, but not now. Getting your neighborhood right is also important. Make sure that everybody around you is more or less similar, because if they are too poor, you're going to end up in bad company, in the sense that everybody is going to come and ask you for a loan and things like that, and don't be that bad. Nor should you be in a place where everybody else is so uber rich that your children get a complex, right? So make sure that you stay in surroundings where you know people and they're more or less same standard of living as you. Reading